Welcome to Trinidad and Tobago Tour News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barreto. Let's take a look at the headlines. A country to defend, a vision of the Ministry of National Security. The Attorney General gives words of advice to law students from the Caribbean and the United States. And the Trinidad and Tobago government joins other countries in the fight against global warming. Thank you for joining us. The Hyatt Regency Hotel was possibly one of the safest places in Port of Spain on Tuesday morning, with security up to its maximum for the Ministry of National Security's National Security Seminar, featuring U.S. security specialist William Joseph Bratto and various heads of the arms of the local security service.
The Regency Ballroom was packed with men and women in uniform, security advisors, criminologists, and security specialists, all amply taking in presentations of initiatives being considered by the government to quell warring gangs in the capital city and overall efforts and methods to reduce crime in Trinidad and Tobago. In his welcome remarks, Acting Commissioner of Police Stephen Williams stated that he was looking forward to working with Mr. Bratto. Mr. Williams said he was impressed with the U.S. security specialist's expertise and knowledge in the area of national security.
Mr. Bratto has distinguished himself in policing and is considered as one of the top police leaders in the world. I am confident that we all will benefit immensely from his expansive knowledge and experience.
A short while later, as he made his presentation, Captain the Honourable Gary Griffith, Minister of National Security, alluded to the fact that it takes everyone to aid in the reduction of criminal activities in this country. Minister Griffith also dispelled the notion that Trinidad and Tobago has a crime culture. He said crime was a product of opportunity.
And it was based on the importance of us understanding the importance of providing our law enforcement agencies with the tools that they require. For too long they've been behind the eight ball. Through the National Security Training Academy, through us understanding what the law enforcement agencies require, we will provide it to them. That is the only way that they can succeed. And this is not going to be based on politicians actually imposing law enforcement initiatives or assets to the members of the police service and the defense force. We need to find out what they want. That is the only way that they can perform, because they are the experts, not the politicians.
When Mr. Bratto took to the podium for his feature address, he started off by stating 9 important principles of policing. Of those, he said, these 3 should be understood and remembered at all times by the state's security personnel. 1. The basic mission for which the police exists is to prevent crime and disorder. 2. The ability of the police to perform their duties is dependent upon public approval of police actions. And 3. Police must secure the willing cooperation of the public in voluntary observance of the law to be able to secure and maintain the respect of the public. He said the police use of physical force should be a last resort. A main tool outlined by Mr. Bratto for the reduction of crime is the CompStat program, which has been credited with reducing crime in major U.S. cities. CompStat, short for Computer Statistics or Comparative Statistics, is the name given to the New York City Police Department's accountability process. It tracks crime through pins stuck in maps and involves weekly crime control meetings.
Indeed, some of my colleagues are here with me, and today, as I speak to you, they are out in the field being escorted by Commissioner Williams' personnel to various elements of our criminal justice community, so that we are in a position to come back and give to Minister Griffith a perspective, a brief synopsis of our sense of what is happening here and where we, my company, the Bratto Group, may be of assistance to what is quite obviously an extraordinarily comprehensive effort to once and for all begin to tackle the issue of crime, disorder, and fear in our country.
Felicia Wilson-Mon, News 4.
Meanwhile, since his arrival in Trinidad and Tobago, U.S. security expert William Bratto has toured some of the areas considered to be crime hotspots in or near the capital. The former LAPD police chief, New York City and Boston police commissioner is here to provide advice to the government and senior police officers on crime-fighting initiatives which can be implemented to lower the country's crime rate, a task which he insists is doable.
What we've been asked to do is to come in and give a presentation about what has worked elsewhere in the United States in particular and changes in policing, but also during this visit to get a number of briefings, a tour certainly, about what has been happening in your country, what has been working, what has not been working. And then we have been asked to present a proposal or a report as to what we think we might be able to add to the initiatives that the government is already taking.
Speaking to the media following his tour of the hotspots, former Chief Bratton expresses some additional ideas but believes the current administration has some of the necessary plans already in place.
Put into a very troubled neighborhood a police presence that can not only provide protection, but the idea is to have if I understand it correctly, a youth center in the building to try and develop relationships, better relationships between the police and the young people. And I'm a strong supporter of this type of activity, putting police right into the neighborhoods.
Meanwhile, Acting Commissioner of Police Stephen Williams confirms this, saying the plans implemented by the police have already seen some change. However, he agrees a more sustainable plan must be developed with the aim of achieving a long-term reduction in the level of crime throughout the entire country.
There has been a vast difference. While there may have been a few shooting incidents, a vast difference because we have had a series of murders taking place in the area, and that hasn't occurred within recent times. What we are seeking to do is continuously improve the policing of East Port of Spain and other areas where we have had challenges. We seek to reach out to the communities, reach out to the media, reach out to everyone, because this is really a challenge that the country is facing. That we have to work together to bring clear resolution to the problem. So we are working on it. We continue to work on it with clear hope that over time we will in fact be able to have a level of sustainability of low levels of crime.
Gregory McBurney, News 4.
When we come back, the Attorney General gives advice to law students from the United States and the Caribbean. Stay with us. Welcome back. Law students from the United States and Caribbean countries participating in the American Caribbean Law Initiative Caribbean Law Clinic got lessons from Attorney General Anand Ram Logan. The AG spoke to the visiting students from the region on law in the Caribbean and gave some words of wisdom on presenting their cases.
American and Caribbean Law Initiative ACLI held its regular semester research study in Trinidad this month. The group comprises of a consortium of 4 Caribbean and 5 U.S. law schools. Each semester, law students meet in a selected venue to coordinate research and prepare a joint presentation on topical legal issues. This year, the team met in Trinidad and Tobago to discuss areas that occupy national importance currently, such as separation of powers, human rights, and discrimination. In welcoming the group of students locally, Attorney General Anand Ram Logan says these areas remain part of public debate as citizens are always looking for justice. He urged the lawyers to become aware of their cases better than their clients and to be on top of their game at all times.
There are several law schools with students participating. I want to wish you all the very best of luck. We have, in fact, created 4 intellectually challenging and very stimulating cases for you. They are of practical relevance and of great public interest and importance to Trinidad and Tobago, and the legal issues have been hotly debated here in the Caribbean. They involve, of course, the doctrine of the separation of powers in the Constitution, and, of course, the separation in particular between the legislative and executive arms of the state, immigration and border security, human rights, and, of course, the issue of discrimination and interpretation of legislation.
The AG, who has some 20 years practicing in the legal system, had some words of advice to the young barristers.
In terms of delivery of justice and winning a case in court, it is oftentimes a good place to start in terms of knowing your judge, so that you will fashion and formulate your submissions and how you conduct your case to meet those particular extraneous requirements. The art of advocacy in the legal profession is at a very critical juncture in not just Trinidad and Tobago, but all over the world. The burdens on the court system and the backlog of court cases has led to the introduction of alternative dispute resolution, and the impact of technology and the harnessing of that technology in the administration of justice has transformed what was an otherwise traditionally adversarial system of litigation into one that is more conversational. That, of course, has implications for the art and the tools of the advocate.
This semester saw retired judges Justice of Appeal Humphrey Stallmeyer, Chairman of the Tax Appeal Board Justice Anthony Gafour, and Attorney Ian Benjamin sit as adjudicators. And while students presented cases on various topics and how mediation should be and can be handled according to the law, the Attorney General remarked that resolutions have taken a different course here in Trinidad and Tobago.
The success of mediation in a culture such as ours in the Caribbean is one that augurs well for the administration of justice, because you have two persons who are the parties to the problem sitting around the table with their legal representatives or advisors and confronting what is a problem and having a conversation about that problem in the presence of a facilitator whose job it is to facilitate and mediate to procure a solution to that problem. It changes the win-lose mentality and the win-lose culture, as the aim of the mediation is to produce a win-win situation.
The clinic is said to offer students a chance to gain practical experience in laws in the Caribbean and application to current situations. The mission of the American Caribbean Law Initiative, ACLI, is to advance the common interests of its members in the growth and development of the Caribbean Basin by facilitating collaborative relationships and by strengthening its legal development and institutions. Kilburam Calawan, News 4.
In other news, government will continue to seek ways by which the country's carbon footprint can be lessened and therefore partner with other countries in the fight against global warming.
Trinidad and Tobago is committed to playing its part as a responsible member of the global community by continuing efforts geared towards lowering levels of greenhouse gas emissions. These remarks were delivered by Minister of State in the Ministry of the Environment and Water Resources, the Honorable Ramona Ramdial, during the launch of CARICOM Energy Week at the Hyatt Regency Trinidad on Monday morning. Energy Week is aimed at raising awareness in relation to energy, in particular highlighting the critical importance of energy to the economic development of the country and the Caribbean region. Minister Ramdial explained that as a country with heavy industries such as iron and steel, methanol and cement production, the government of Trinidad and Tobago has recognized its contribution to the production of greenhouse gases and its effects on global warming and climate change. She assured government will continue to pursue policy and initiatives to increase the use of new and innovative technologies that have lower levels of emissions, encourage the use of clean energy technologies such as natural gas technology and clean production technology, adopt more energy-efficient technologies and practices, and encourage the use of renewable energies that have zero emissions. The minister encouraged participants of CARICOM Energy Week 2013 to be examples of sustainability, conservation, and positive change, and expressed hope that the private sector will partner with government to help the country transition to a prosperous low-carbon economy. CARICOM Energy Week 2013 symbolizes the united efforts amongst participating member states to improve energy awareness within the region. Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
Sport is up right after the break. Stay with us. Last weekend was packed with football action as 16 teams faced off in the preliminaries of the Toyota Classic competition. The game of football, though, proved how tricky it can be as 3 Super League teams got the better of their Pro League opponents in the competition.
In what proved to be the biggest upset of the rounds, Kevin Jagdir Singh found the back of the net in either half to lead Minnows Guaya United to a 2-0 victory over Pro League opponents Northeast Stars at a muddy Guaya Guayari recreation ground. The other teams to shock included Malabar FC, who fought from a 3-1 deficit to mount a comeback against San Juan Jablote. Jablote opened the scoring in the 9th when Rennie Brito ran onto a long pass and put the ball across the face of the goal, leaving Kerry Batiste to tap in straight past Malabar's keeper, Zane Coker, from 7 yards out. The boys from San Juan doubled their lead in the 21st when Brito outran the defense to collect another long pass and coolly side-footed past Coker. An own goal by Jablote soon gave hope to Malabar as Nyron James, trying to clear the ball, succeeded in only beating his own keeper, a goal he would go on to rue. Malabar nearly evened it up 1 minute later, but they were denied first by the bar, then by the keeper. Jablote would use that to their advantage and off the goalkeeper's throw. Some beautiful one-touch passes leading to Rennie Brito getting even more familiar with putting the ball inside the net. At halftime, Jablote 3, Malabar FC 1. Malabar will refuse to roll over and came out in the second half with renewed vigour. A Gorian Haile hat-trick leading them to a tense 4-3 victory, with the winner coming just moments from full-time in the 85th minute of play. In the other games, Club Sando was the 3rd Super League team to shock their Pro League opponents with a 3-1 victory over Police FC. Meanwhile, W Connection beat Real Maracas 2-0. Defence Force put 3 unanswered goals past Tobago-based 1976 Phoenix FC. Caledonia AIA repeated the same scoreline over St. Anne's Rangers, while Central FC hopped on the same bandwagon with an identical victory over Joe Public FC. The most devastating defeat was inflicted on Stokely Vale FC by Point Fortin Civic FC, who were ruthless with an 11-0 victory over the Tobago team. The action continues next weekend with the quarterfinals of the competition kicking off from this Friday. Gregory McBurney, News 4 Sports.
When we come back, a look at beautiful China. Stay with us. Citizens can now feel even closer to the people and culture of the People's Republic of China by visiting the Beautiful China exhibition at the National Library in Port of Spain.
The Chinese brought their customs, their culture, food, games, traditions, and way of dress. And even though many have been assimilated into Trinidadian society, some still observe these customs. The wider Trinidadian society, in turn, has adopted much of the Chinese heritage. This can be seen in the popularity of Chinese food, weiwei, and the legalized form of this game, playwei.
The Chinese have been a part of Trinidad and Tobago's identity for more than 200 years and continue to enjoy a close relationship with citizens here. Over the past few years, this long-standing relationship has been strengthened, and it was only a few months ago that the Chinese president visited this country.
The first wave of Chinese immigrants arrived in Trinidad on the 12th of October, 1806, on the ship Fortitude, in an effort to populate the newly acquired British colony, Trinidad, and more importantly, to find a labor source to replace the African slaves. The second wave of Chinese immigration took place between 1853 and 1866, when many Chinese migrated not only to countries in Southeast Asia, but to countries such as Australia, Canada, and the United States and the Caribbean. The third wave of Chinese migration began after 1911, and these came as merchants, peddlers, traders, and shopkeepers.
On Monday, the Embassy of the People's Republic of China and the National Library and Information Authority held the official opening of the photographic exhibition at the National Library, Port of Spain. The exhibition, entitled Beautiful China, showcased rare photographic displays of picturesque scenes from the People's Republic of China prepared by amateur and professional photographers. Ambassador of the People's Republic of China to the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, His Excellency Wang Ziyang, used the opportunity to thank the members of the media for the level of coverage the embassy has been given. Following the formalities, there was a tour of the exhibition, which was open to all members of the public, and those in attendance were treated to traditional Chinese food. Beautiful China, which runs for 1 week ending on Sunday, provides the public with information on the people and culture of China. Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
Well, that's how we wrap up this edition of our News 4 Report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barito. Thank you for joining us.